Exploring the World of Virtual Field Trips by Jenny Craig. My presentation will consist of defining virtual field trips, illustrating what students can gain from such an experience, offering tools for locating virtual field trip destinations online, touring an example of a virtual experience, providing examples of virtual field trips to use in other content areas, and mapping out how to get started. What are virtual field trips? In today's cyber age, the internet can extend the educational value of field trips to levels previously unimaginable. Virtual field trips taken online, can take a student to locations too far away to travel to or too expensive to visit. Virtual field trips can take a student back in time, into outer space, or into the microscopic world. If a virtual field trip is conducted in the same meticulous fashion as a real-life field trip, students should be able to acquire the same cognitive and affective gains that previous research has found. When this is possible, an entirely new world of experiences will be open to all students, regardless of the school field trip budget, as they can all experience firsthand the potential of the internet as a valid curricular device. How should I begin planning for a virtual field trip? The entire concept of a virtual field trip is a relatively new one. Unfortunately, not many of these online excursions currently exist on the internet, and those that do exist are often filled with more glitz than with substance. Still, a growing number of sites are currently online, many of which can be incorporated into the curriculum in some fashion. Most of these packaged virtual field trips are sites which are already constructed and available online as is, without personal curricular adaptations. In contrast to the packaged field trip, a personalized field trip is one which is developed by the classroom teacher through a variety of online sources, and which directly addresses the curricular goals of the classroom. It is an educationally sound electronic experience that is fully integrated within the curriculum. What can my students gain from a virtual field trip? Field trips expand children's learning through active hands-on experience with the rich resources of the local community. Field trips increase student knowledge and understanding of a subject and add realism to the topic of study. How do I find virtual field trip destinations? Finding destinations for your trip is easy. If you Google virtual field trip, you're going to get quite a few hits. I've included several reliable sites in this presentation. There are countless destination spots, so peruse at your leisure and find the one that's right for you, or you can design your own. Are there virtual field trips for all content areas? There are many opportunities for cross-curricular field trips as well. In conjunction with the dramatization of Anne Frank, the performance in English class, and the study of World War II and history, students are able to not only visit the secret annex itself, but participate in a virtual tour of one of the concentration camps or battlefield sites. Perhaps you may plan a trip to a rainforest as part of your science unit, but in English you are focusing on gathering facts for a digital storytelling assignment involving exotic birds. There are so many possibilities when including virtual field trips into your curriculum, either on your own, as part of your curriculum, or in conjunction with a colleague teaching another course. You need to go about planning a virtual experience for your students much the same way as planning for a regular field trip. There are some do's and some don'ts. Do select a trip which has a clear connection to what you are studying in class. Collect signed parental permission slips to take your class online. Be a responsible chaperone while your class is online, and make sure you're able to monitor all computer screens in use from one vantage point. It's also very important to plan ahead for your trip. Teach a preparatory lesson before the trip. Preview the sites and know the content. Make sure to check all links to make sure they work. Provide step-by-step tasks to accomplish for your students. Consider a treasure hunt checklist for students to follow. Perhaps have students gather text and images to make a scrapbook of their online experience. Place a time limit on the trip. Be the tour guide. Help students pace themselves. There are also some do nots. Do not allow students to wander online on their own. Don't present the site without knowing it in detail. Don't go on a trip without classroom preparation ahead of time. Don't use virtual field trips as an unstructured use of free time. And don't complete a virtual field trip with little or no follow-up. Help kids make those connections to their learning. One of the trips I found interesting and relevant to my content area is a virtual tour of the secret annex. Once students click on the site, they enter the world as Anne Frank herself saw it, lived in it. The rooms are decorated exactly as they had been when the Frank and the Van Daan family lived there. Using this tool, my students can visualize their experience differently than with the stage directions my classes have relied on for years. Overall, virtual field trips add an educational dimension to the learning process and offer the same benefits as actual field trips do. The key to both experiences is planning. The more prepared you are, the more your students will gain. And by including the technology your students crave, you engage and excite them.
Okay.